Alright, welcome back everybody. Earlier today I already recorded this video, but I forgot to hit the record button, so I actually didn't record this video. So last time we landed on Duna, blah blah blah, yay, we landed on Duna with, well, this rover. This time we're going to Eve. Pretty much the same thing. We have atmosphere so we can use a parachute, all that fun stuff. Pretty much the same launch system, has plenty enough fuel to get to Eve as well, especially with nuclear engines that are awesome. Um, from the last episode, I did fix the whole fuel line and staging problem because last time this fuel line was just attached to the solid rocket booster, which was causing herp derp moments with the whole fuel and asparagus-ness. And yeah, so other than that, I haven't added anything to the rover. I did take off the landing legs. The atmosphere on Eve and the gravity on Eve is strong enough where flipping over on our backs, in fact, lifting the tires up off the ground, probably will never happen. So we'll go ahead and get our encounter all set up and everything like that. Show you guys what we have to do for Eve. And it's essentially backwards from Duna. Duna, we did 45 degrees in comparison to Kerbal. This time we're going to do negative 54 degrees. It's pretty much backwards, or as close to backwards as we can get. Alright, so we come out here, get ourselves lined up, bam, bam. Now Duna, we had to wait until it was right here. 45 degrees, bam. Well, with Eve, we have to have it behind us, so it has to be here when we're here. So we're going to time warp, and we're going to let that happen. Now, Eve is also backwards from Duna. With Duna, we went around the orbit faster than Duna. With Eve, Eve is going around faster than us, because, well, it's a smaller circle, go figure. So we sit here and wait, and wait, and wait some more. And then we continue to wait. Now, we're just waiting for Eve to be somewhere in here when we're lined up like that. If you notice, I keep on making sure that I'm using this left side of my screen pretty much to line up that, and then the center of the left side of my screen for the sun. So right now we're at 180. Coming down to 225 now. And we're going to go for this, which is, if I can do the math, is 280, I believe. Regardless, it's 360 minus, it's 310 degrees. If you count the circle and the counterclockwise. But if you want to, you can look at it this way and do a reverse 45. Bam, bam. And we're almost there. Here we go. Cupcakes are waiting on Eve. At least that's what they think the planet's made out of. It is purple, and purple really only comes in cupcake flavor. So, almost there. Making sure things are lined up. Now, you don't need to get it like a protractor out or anything like that. We can just eyeball it. It's nothing really all that specific. And looking at that, a little bit further. And right about there. Okay, so our next step is to get into a 100-kilometer orbit. Easy peasy. You all know how to do this. You blast off, make sure your T key's turned on, and you go straight up. Now, with the solid rocket boosters, my first stage of the asparagus staging, this tank and this tank run out of fuel before the solid rocket, so staging is a little bit weird compared to what we normally do, but it's nothing crazy. Nothing crazy at all. We keep going up and up and up. 3,000 meters, blah blah blah. You all know how to get into an orbit like this. It's nothing crazy. If you don't know how to get into an orbit like this, go back to episode 3 where I show you how to get into an orbit. Because, well, if you can't do that, you can't get to Eve. Simple as that. Alright, making sure our speed is about 200 meters up until 10,000. Alright, looking good. Start our gravity turn, full throttle. Alright, bring it down to about there, let it bounce back. It's going to do some weird balancing things. I realized that we're taking off at night. It keeps on happening. It did in the last video that I didn't record. Also, I forgot to do the, well, I didn't forget to do the bonus video yesterday, but I ran into some issues in real life that I had to take care of, so I will certainly get you guys a bonus video today, just to make up for it. Alright, there goes that, and there we go. We are headed straight up, full tank in this stage. You've all seen that. Come in here. At this point, since we're just down to the last stage, I can come out here without having to worry about staging and stuff like that, and trying to magically read the G-force meter of knowing when things destage. And yeah, it's possible. I've done it. I don't want to. Like, so much don't want to. It's annoying. Here we go. Getting there. Nice and slow. Slow is the key here. Take our time. We don't want anything blowing up and having to redo the whole launch again and again and again. Definitely been in those boats before. And we're just going to come up to a 100-kilometer orbit because that's how I did the math and everything. I'm going to go up a little bit higher. There we go. There we go. And we're warping to it. And right there. Now we blast again. And we wait until our magical 2,200 meters a second or so for a perfect orbit. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy at all. Alright. Just trying to keep that from going up too much higher than 1,000. Alright. It's getting there. It's growing and growing and growing. And flip. 100 and 108. Perfect. Well, sort of perfect. Alright. So, as you know, we have this set up here for a negative 50-ish. Right, like that. And now, for this burn, you find prograde, which is up on the top of my screen, for Kerbal. Kerbal's moving that way. Okay. Now, for the burn, you want to find the prograde, which we did. It's this way. Okay, draw a straight line down through, and we're going to go about 30 to 40 degrees this way. Add a maneuver. And then we're going to grow it to about 1,000 something. Actually, let me set that as target, just so we know what we're doing. Okay, get that back. And then we burn. Okay. And we got ourselves an approach here. Look at that. Encounter. No problems whatsoever. Got a really large periapsis, but I think I can shrink that once we're in a better orbit. So, we got our burn of when we're going to do it and where we're going to do it. So, our next step is to line up on the blue. The ship turns quite slow because we have a giant, massive fuel tank attached to it. So I'm going to find the blue, and as soon as it hits the blue, I'm going to time warp so it locks it in on that spot. And bam. Now our burn is supposed to only be about 38 seconds, so at 15 seconds, well, probably 30 seconds. I don't know if I have enough fuel to do the whole 30-second burn. So 3 minutes, 2, 1. Alright, 1 minute out. And right about here, I think I'm going to start doing the burn. Got a little bit of a kick there that threw me off to the side. That's alright. And then we wait until that hits our magical 0. I'll probably only be able to get rid of about 300 meters of that. Oh, we're down to 400. So we stage. I just come out here to make sure everything stages correctly, nothing blows up and does nasty things. And yes, I said nasty. And this is going to be a longer burn, so I'm going to go ahead and time warps times 4. Okay. Still burning. At about 20 meters a second or so out, I'm going to go back to normal time warp. And right about here, just so I can stay aligned with it and everything. Start to cut engine, so it's more of a fine-tuning aspect. And then we hit X, right about there, just to bring our throttle to 0 and slowly do that, and then we pulse engine until it's 0, just like that. Get rid of the maneuver node. Okay, and let's see what our predicted path is. Now, as you can see, we aren't encountering anymore. But if I can zoom in here good enough. Oh, well, we are lined up there, but then we start to drop down. So at the ascending node here, as you can see, we're going up over the orbit. So what I want to do is I want to drop down until we're lined up with it. Okay, lined up with it. Just making sure our plane is the same. And that's pretty close. And that's a 200 meter a second burn there. So we find the blue again. And that was just to line us up with the orbit of Eve. It looks like we do need to go down a little bit further. 0 degrees, that's what you want. 0 and 0. Then we'll worry about getting this closer once we align our plane a little bit better here. So it's going to be a 1 minute and 18 second burn. Nothing crazy. Okay, we come out to said burn. We're a day out, a couple hours out. I want to burn at about 45 seconds. We just split that time. I missed it. You guys suck. You always let me miss my burns. It's alright. It's not that specific of a burn. We're not trying to shrink this much at all. We're really just aligning our planes, which I'm eyeballing at this point. And it's really hard to tell sometimes. Just gotta move the camera around a bit until you can see it. I mean, we got a lot of orbits looking at it and everything like that. We are at 0 and 0, so we can get rid of the maneuver node now. Okay, which means our closest approach is 136,000 kilometers. Okay, that ain't horrible, ain't great, but it's not horrible. So we're gonna add a maneuver here. We're gonna try and play with the blues here. What that does is it shifts our orbit instead of it's just shifting the orbit instead of changing periaps and all that. There we go. See if I can fine tune that a little bit better. 32, 23 million, or is that 1,000? Ah, that's million. Okay, 7 million, 3 million. Actually, I think I can click that. No. No. There we go. Now I can actually see it while I adjust. 3 million, 2 million, 1 million. Okay, 1 million that. If I go this way, it gets bigger. Go this way. Okay, that doesn't change it at all. Let's do this. Aha! 182. But that's if I do a perfect burn right there. Alright, so And that's only 41 meters a second burn. Not bad. It's 12 days out, so we'll go right into it. See here, we're already getting pretty close. And it's saying it's only a 9-second burn, so we want to burn at 4 seconds. Okay, 38 minutes out. Okay, 30 minutes out. Okay, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 minute out. And right about here. This should give us a perfect burn. Shrink it down in there. Okay. And, there we go. Looks good to me. It's doing crazy wobbliness, but that doesn't really matter. Alright. Now if we look, we're getting pretty much right on the money. Right where we want to be. If you notice, what's happening is we're cutting into a smaller circle than Eve, which means we're going to be going faster than Eve, and catch up to its sphere of influence. Which is right about here. Now looking at this, okay, it's 10 minutes out, 9, 8. Right here you want to slow down because the game can herp and kind of freeze for a bit. Right there. Alright. Now, my periapsis is nice and small, but I do want to shrink it some. So to shrink the periapsis, look at the inclination. If I burn south, it should shrink it. Since we're coming in at such a straight angle. Nope, we gotta burn north. North to shrink that. I'm gonna do a litho burn here, which is where we use arrow braking to capture us into an orbit. There we go. Burning north, and it's cutting that down. And we'll stop it at about, I don't know, 66. And the atmosphere on Eve is actually thick enough and big enough where 66 will slow us down considerably. So we warp in here. Okay. And we should see nothing happening. I don't think oh no, I'm not low enough yet. Okay. Should see everything catch and throw us back in. There we go. Definitely getting some atmospheric effects here now, and look at that. Litho braking accomplished. Didn't use any engine at all to slow down to get into Eve's orbit. Pretty nifty. But we're still way out there, and I don't feel like warping around and getting there and everything and coming back for another litho burn. So we're just gonna kill it manually. But we killed a lot of delta V requirement by doing that all like that. You sit here and burn for days, on days, on days. Okay. Yeah, I know, I'm trying to do physical time warp, you friggin' game. Okay, shrinking it all down. Shrinky dinky. If I do this right, I should be able to land on land. Preferably somewhere in here. Last time that I didn't record, we accidentally landed in an ocean, which is yicky. Nobody likes oceans. Look at that, we already have a landing approach and all that fun stuff. Getting there, getting there, getting there. I'm pretty much just using all that fuel we saved just to make this quicker and easier for the episode. And right about there looks good to me. Can we do normal warp? We can. It looks like we're going to get ourselves a really nice approach here. What's our altitude? 130, 100, and everything looks good. Alright, so you may have noticed an edit there. I had to leave for a minute with a phone call and that sort of thing. But hopefully I can edit these together, and yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah, we were landing on Eve. Our altitude right now is 50,000 and dropping at a rather rapid pace. We're still going 3,000 meters a second, which is quite ridiculous. We're going to release that stage to help us slow down, and we're going to center ourselves on that. I am going to burn our retro thrusters here just to make sure we slow down. Okay. We're going to slow us down to about 300 meters a second. There. Retro thrusters worked. Released our fuel tank and everything. And we should be able to land nice and easy. Gonna speed up here. Actually, I'm going to deploy the parachute now before we get into really thick stuff. I'm just going to coast on down now from this point. Now, if you notice, at 10,000 meters, we're already at a full 1 atmosphere. If I pull out the barometer, you can notice the pressure has already surpassed that of Kerbal, which, in all reality, is way too friggin' thick. Okay, starting to see some ground scatter, which means 500 meters off the surface is coming soon, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. Now, if the chute does break, we do have thrusters and everything, so we can still land without the parachute, luckily. Coming down, though, and there we go, parachute fully deployed, which means the surface is going to be at about 1,900 meters. So we'll have to look at all of our science equipment from 1,900 meters up. And then we're going to see how well this rover does on an extremely high gravity situation and all that. We're coming down, 4.9, about 1,900 meters here, and touchdown. Look at that. Now let's see how this thing does on the surface. If you notice, things are bouncing and everything like that, but the gravity is holding us down pretty well. Alright. And we can even drive it from inside of here, because I made sure that window had a clear view out the front. Alright. Go over this hill and just see. Yep, we're pretty much stuck to the surface like glue. On other planets, that would normally have thrown us off and everything like that, and we would have went flying. And right now I'm holding full throttle too, so we definitely aren't going to be leaving the surface anytime soon. I mean, look at that. It just sucked us right down. The gravity here is ridiculous. And that's what all these supports are for and everything like that, is to help maintain structural stability on these extremely high gravity planets. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes. Braked pretty fast, to be honest. Okay, brakes on. Let's do some science here. Pressure down here is 3.8 times. Well, actually, it's the same as 3.8. So we'll call it 4 Kerbals worth of air pressure. Check the gravity. It's about twice that of Kerbins. And come over here and check the gravity. Yep, 1.69 is about 2 times the amount of gravity, or a little bit more than 1.5 times. And it's hot here. 144 degrees Celsius. Thomas Kerman is not a happy monkey. So we're going to go ahead and deploy that. Did clip through the light a little bit there, but I'm not really worried about it. Now for EVA, you'll see we come out the back. And he has everything he needs. Hopefully I can jump him back up in there. We'll plant a flag. Alright, planting a flag. Boom. Let the record show that I feel fat and hot here. On another note, there are no cupcakes. Okay, now let's see if we can get him back in there. If you see, when we jump, we really can't jump. Alright, buddy, you need to get back up. I believe the game glitched. Yep, he's in perpetual falling mode. I cannot get him out of it. Oh, wait. There we go. Alright, so when we try to jump, we get that. So if I go like this, I don't think I'm going to be able to get back in our rover. Oh, there we go. Had to plaster him against the door, but I got it. Grab, board, and we're good. We got ourselves a rover on Eve and on Duna. Alright, next time we will go to Moho and see what it's like to land there. Until then, you guys have been great, and I will try to throw up a bonus video once I figure out what I want to do for a bonus video. Alright, see you guys later.